Hey everybody, Jillian here. In this video, I want to show you how I am documenting my takeaways in my interleaved journaling Bible now that I have just wrapped up reading through the book of Deuteronomy. So first, I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Here's a page that I made in Genesis documenting some of my takeaways from when I studied this portion. I typed up my thoughts onto these tags and labels and included them vertically down the page. And then here are some other pages that I've journaled as I've read through the book of Deuteronomy, like this one in Deuteronomy 1. I think I have a process video for this. I'll link it for you. That one was really fun to record God's faithfulness. This one explains some repeated or common words in the book of Deuteronomy that jumped out to me. One of them is the word remember. So here I documented a little bit about the purpose for the feasts that Israel observes. Used lots of patterned paper for that one, and then this one where I use some media gloss sprays, just noting that God is a wise provider is one huge theme that I've seen throughout the book of Deuteronomy. So that will give you an idea of what I'll work on today. I have some really fun stencils that I'm going to work with. I have the Vanessa Alpha stencil and this number stencil. I'm going to be working with these colors of ink for my page, and that informed my selection of this Faded Blue Jeans Distress Oxide ink. Going to work on my own alphas here for my title. My title again is going to be Takeaways. I really like this kind of formula almost for this type of journaling. So I'm just putting my ink blending tool through the stencil, and then I'm going to do it a couple more times for some duplicate letters that I need to spell the word takeaways. And then I'm going to use the number stencil too. This time just putting my pen through the number stencil for numbers 1 to 4. Then I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut each one of these guys out. I won't make you watch me do that, but here I have all of my numbers and my title for today's page. So then what I'm going to do is start stamping. I'm going to use a speech bubble stamp. I have 3 different ones using these Studio Calico Color Theory inks. I'll link them all in the video description below. These are the colors that I went with. I'm going to keep my baby wipes handy and put my Bible mat under for a solid stamping surface, and then put some washi tape on the corners to hold it down. So just really quickly repeating a bunch of stamping here. I realized towards the end of this video that this page looks very patriotic, and that's certainly not what I was going for. So if it kind of strikes you that way, know that it wasn't on purpose. So I am going to put each of these letters down using some foam adhesive to kind of pop them up off of the page, and then I'll place my numbers around each of the speech bubbles and put my journaling in the speech bubble. For those dark speech bubbles, I'm going to use a white Uniball Signo gel pen to be able to actually read what I've written on there. I had so much fun reading through the book of Deuteronomy, and in case you are a little bit intimidated about reading Israel's history, I want to give just a couple of pointers that may make it seem a little easier or interesting for you. And so the first one, right away, we need to realize that Deuteronomy is not instruction for 21st century Christians, although we do see the heart of God in these pages and can respond accordingly in our lives. Deuteronomy actually means second law, so this is a reiteration of the law that was given to Israel in the wilderness right before they go and enter the promised land. If you were to flip through my journal where I documented my notes and things like that as I went through the book of Deuteronomy, you'll see a bunch of question marks, and that's because when I read it, it doesn't make sense to my Western, modern, 21st century ears. And so it's super important to remember that we can't impose our culture onto the Bible. It was written so long ago to a totally different people group. And so when I have those questions, I'll often go and research them after I'm done reading to kind of get an idea. And what I found is they actually, again, point to the loving, wise provision of the Father for his people. So as I use all the stamps here, I'll run through the 4 big things that jumped out at me from the book of Deuteronomy. The first one is that God is faithful to his people and to his covenant with them. He has increased them in number and is about to give them the land that he swore to Abraham. And he is faithful to them even when he knows that they will be unfaithful to him. The second thing is that God takes idolatry seriously. He is passionate about his glory, and according to chapter 13, it is a capital offense. My third takeaway is that God is perfect provider, meeting physical needs and giving wise, loving instruction. He establishes law so that the marginalized are cared for in society. And another phrase that's repeated throughout the book of Deuteronomy is, with a mighty hand and outstretched arm. There is no one like God. He is all-powerful, and when giving commands to his people, he points them back to that might when he rescued them from Egypt as the reason to respond to him appropriately as their one true God. So that's it. A pretty simple page with lots of notes. I'm super excited to begin working through the book of Joshua next. I've had a few requests to share specifically how I use my journal here, how I work through a text, and I'd be happy to share my setup for Joshua, which looks a little different than how I've done it in the past. So if that's something that would interest you, that you would like to see and learn more about, let me know down in the comments and I'd be happy to put something together for you guys. That's going to do it for me. I hope you have a great rest of your week and I'll see you soon.